Today I'm going to talk about a concept called collections. Okay, so collections are basically used to store multiple elements of same type or different types in a single variable. So in simple, collections are used to store multiple elements. It can be same type or different types, or kind of mixed. In the collections, there are four categories, or you can say there are four types. One is list, second one is tuple, and the third one is set, and the fourth one is dictionary. Okay, so let's talk about what is list. List is one of the collection, as I mentioned, and lists are used to store multiple items of same type or different types in a single variable. And lists are created using square brackets. If you want to create a list, you must have to create a list using the square brackets. And if you add a new item to the list, it will be placed at the end of the list. Whenever you add a new item to the list, it will be placed at the end of the list. And some of the list properties are: list is a indexed and ordered, changeable, allows duplicate values. Okay, for example, what is indexed? Indexed is nothing but you can retrieve the items using the indexed. Zero index means first item, one index means second item. So you can able to retrieve the list items or list elements using the indexed. When I say ordered, is nothing but in which ordered you added the items. If you can able to retrieve the items in the same ordered, that is nothing but that collection can be said as ordered. Okay, so changeable, list is changeable. It allows add and remove. You can add the new items to the list, you can remove the exist items from the list. And list allows duplicate values. It is nothing but you can add you can create a list with you can create a list with same elements. Okay, that means list allows duplicate items. Okay, you can create a list with 10 20, again 10 comma 10 comma 10. Okay, it will allow duplicate values. Okay, so let's see one example. So here I created a list. The name of the list variable is my list. The name of the variable is my list. Okay, as I mentioned, I created a list with square brackets, and it has multiple values. Okay, multiple values of same and different type. Okay, so there are string values and there are number values, integer values. Okay, apple, banana, cherry, 4 5 6 4 apple. Okay, and I printed the list. Okay, and if you want to know the length of the list, if you want to know the length of the list, so how many values are there in the list, how many elements are there in the list. Okay, you can use a function called len. And if you want to know the type of the variable, so what is this my list, what type of variable this my list is, if you want to know the type of the variable, you can use type command. Okay, so as I told, if you want to retrieve the values from the list, you can start with the index. Okay, so my list 0 will print apple, my list 4 will print 5. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4, that is nothing but 5. Okay, so my list minus 1. Okay, if you use index 0, you can able to retrieve the items from the beginning. And if you use index minus 1, okay, if you use the minus 1 minus 2 minus 3, you can able to retrieve the items from the last. Okay, like this, from the last you can able to retrieve. Okay, so let's run this program and see. So when we print the list, all items are printed, you can see here. And whatever the ordered I created, in the same ordered the items are printed. Okay, so that is nothing but ordered. And when I use len command, it is used to retrieve the length of the list. Okay, so the length of the list is 8. That is nothing but there are 8 items in the list. Okay, the type of the list is the class list. Okay, so when I say my list of 0, it has printed apple. When I say my list of 4, it has printed 5. When I say my list of -1, it has printed apple. So from the last. Okay, from the last. Okay, so when you say my list of -2, it has printed 4. Okay, so that's how it has printed. Okay, so okay, so there are two more things that we need to discuss in the list. One is how to add the new item, and how to remove the existing item, right? Okay, so let me show you that. So this is the list variable, that is my list. And if you do append, okay, and then add any item. Okay, if you want to add a number, you can just say number. Or if you want to add a text, okay, for example lemon, okay, you can use append keyword. And then if you want to see the list of items, you can see that, okay, the lemon is added at the end of the list. Okay, and if you want to remove the existing item, dot, let's say banana. Okay, and then print my list. You can see that apple, cherry. Okay, so banana is removed. So if you want to add a new item, you can use append. And if you want to remove the any existing item, you can use remove command. Okay, okay, so let's say if you want to add an item in between, if you want to add an item in the beginning or in the middle or in the end or in between, okay, you can use a uh, method called inset. Okay, my list dot inset. So you need to give the index. Okay, so where you want to insert an item. Okay, for example, I want to insert an item after the apple. I want to insert an item after the apple. Okay, so apple starts from 0th index. Okay, so if you want to insert the item after the apple means, okay, in the first index you want to insert an item, right? Okay, so 1 comma, okay, for example papaya. Okay, and then print the list. The list variable name is my list. Okay, you can see the papaya is printed, sorry, the papaya as inserted after the apple. Okay, so if you want to uh, remove the item in between, or if you want to remove the item based on the index, okay, so you can use pop. Okay, so for example, this is the final list. So after append, insert and remove, okay, so we have the final list. This is the final list, right? Okay, so let's say I want to remove a lemon. Okay, so that's a last item. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, if you give pop 8, okay, and run this one, and you can see the lemon is removed. Okay, so let me repeat one more time. Append takes one argument, the value, which will which will add the item at the end. Insert will take two parameters, two arguments. Okay, one is index and the another one is value. Okay, and remove will take the value. So you give the value, so that value gets removed. If you give banana, banana gets removed. If you give 4, 4 gets removed. Okay, not all the 4s. So when you give 4, it comes from this approach. Okay, so the 4 is appeared in the very beginning. Okay, so this 4 gets removed. Okay, so whatever is first appeared, that gets removed. Okay, and if you want to remove, yeah, so as I mentioned, if you want to remove, you can use remove operation or method and pass the value. And if you want to remove the item based on the index, you can use pop. So these are the four different operations in the list majorly used. There are few others are also available, but majorly append, insert, remove, and pop are the majorly used operations, along with length and type. Okay. Okay, so let's look into the tuple. Okay, so tuple again is one of the collection. Tuples are used to store multiple items of same type or different types in a single variable. Tuples are written with round brackets. Okay, so remember, if it is a list, square bracket. If it is a tuple, round bracket. So you can create a tuple with round bracket. A tuple is a collection which is ordered. So I told you what is ordered. Ordered is nothing but in which order you enter the items, in the same order you can retrieve the items. That is nothing but ordered. And unchangeable, very important. Please note that tuple is unchangeable. So once you create a tuple, once you define a tuple with multiple items, you cannot you cannot change it. You can't add new item to the tuple. You can't remove the existing item from the tuple. So that is nothing but unchangeable. And tuple allows duplicate values. Okay, so that is one thing. So let's look into this tuple. Let's work on this tuple. Okay, so as I mentioned, tuple is created using the round brackets, and also mentioned tuple allows duplicate values, and tuple is ordered. Okay, in what way you inserted the items, in the same way you can retrieve. Apple, banana, cherry, apple, cherry. Same way, apple, banana, cherry, apple, cherry. The same way you can retrieve it. Okay, again, if you want to know the length of the tuple, okay, you can use length command. Okay, if you want to know the type of the variable, you can always use type and the variable name, this tuple. Okay, so it says tuple. Okay, so again, in the tuple you can retrieve the items based on the index. Okay, so if you start with 0, okay, so you can retrieve the first item. And if you start with -1, as I mentioned, you can retrieve the last item. Okay, here you can see this tuple of 0 returns apple, and this tuple of -1 returns cherry, the last item. Okay, so let's try to add some item to the tuple and see what happens. Okay, so this tuple dot append, and you can use let's say lemon. So let's see what happens. Okay, tuple object has no attribute called append. Okay, so it is throwing an exception that there is no uh, function called append. Okay, as I mentioned, you cannot add new items to the tuple, or you cannot remove the existing items from the tuple. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about what is a set. So again, similar to the list and tuple, set is also used to store multiple items of same type or different types in a single variable. Okay, and set are written with curly brackets. If you want to create a set, you must have to use curly bracket. Okay, so in the list you use square bracket. In the tuple you use round bracket. When it comes to set, you have to create a set with curly brackets. Okay, and set is a collection which is unordered. Okay, it is not ordered. Okay, so in whatever the way you inserted, there is no guarantee in the same way you can able to retrieve. There is no guarantee in the same way you can retrieve. That is nothing but unordered and unchangeable. Okay, so you can make the it is unchangeable. That is nothing but you cannot add items to the set, or you cannot remove items from the set. It is unchangeable. And unindexed is nothing but, if you remember, in the list or tuple, you can able to retrieve the items based on the index, okay, using the square brackets, okay, square brackets of 0, square brackets of 1, square brackets of 2. So you can able to retrieve the items using the index in the list and tuple, whereas in the set you cannot retrieve the items based on the index. Please remember, very important, you cannot retrieve the items using the index in the set. And importantly, set do not allow duplicate. It doesn't allow duplicate. Okay, so this is the set apple, banana, cherry. And if you want to know the number of items in the set, you can always use the length command. If you want to know the type of the variable, you can always use type command. Okay, and so let's try adding the duplicate values. Okay, so I'm going to make apple. Okay, let's see what is the behavior of the Python in this case. Okay, so can you see that apple, banana, cherry? Okay, so another apple is not added to the set. It doesn't allow duplicate. So if you try to add the duplicate, it will ignore it. So if you try to add the duplicate items, it will ignore it. It will not add those duplicate items to the set. Very important. Okay, it will ignore. And finally, it just print banana, apple, cherry, and the total number of items is 3. And one more thing, please remember, the set is unordered, in which you have inserted the items. There is no guarantee in the same order you can retrieve it. Okay, so for example, so you started with apple, banana, cherry. Okay, if you see, it is printed in a different order: banana, apple, cherry. Okay, so apple has come first, but in this case apple has come in the middle. Okay, so it is nothing but unordered. There is no guarantee in which you have inserted the items. It can be printed in the same order, it can be retrieved in the same order. There is no guarantee. Okay, and as I mentioned, set doesn't allow duplicate values. Okay, and let's try to retrieve the items based on the index. Okay, let's give a try. You can see that set object is not subscriptable. Okay, so whatever it is, it doesn't allow you to retrieve the items based on the index.